Hey everybody, these tape tips were originally recorded for YouTube, so occasionally an episode may have a few moments that are better suited for watching rather than just listening. The link to the YouTube video is in the show notes, and if you're on Spotify, you can choose to watch the video right there. Thanks. There is no too short, too tall, too heavy, too warm, too wet, or too humid. There's just one excuse: too weak. This statement, or some version of it, has become part of the Alex Megos lore. So much so that even he started to believe it.
No bad conditions.
There's no bad conditions. There's only weakness.
And I get the sentiment. Hell, I love the sentiment. But we all know that it just isn't true. I mean, maybe the skin issues are directly correlated to ignoring conditions. When I was talking with Alex for my Written in Stone Climbing History podcast, this happened.
I do also feel that although every hard climb obviously is condition dependent, even though I don't want to admit that often.
I heard it right here. Conditions matter.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately they do. It kind of sucks, but the older you get, you realize that they kind of do matter at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Conditions do matter. Megos was wrong. He admits that he was wrong. But was he? See, here's the thing. He gets to climb essentially whenever he wants. Most pros do. For them, it makes perfect sense to be choosy about conditions. The fact that Alex was realizing that it was to his benefit to recognize conditions matter was a good thing for his career. But it's not how he got there. He got there by climbing thousands of rock climbs in less than perfect conditions. Most of the top climbers you can name got there the same way. They weren't being so choosy on anything but their hardest projects. And even then, they'd stick around trying the thing through the heat and humidity for far longer than the average climber would. Which is part of the reason that they aren't average climbers. Let's look at a 2015 trip that Alex took to the New River Gorge. At that time, several blogs made a huge deal about how he climbed every day, no matter the conditions. And in the video that came out the following year, he said this.
And in the end, no excuses exist. Ultimately, friction is no excuse. And that's, when seen black and white, the real reason for failure. Not because it was slippery or too warm or taped fingers, simply because you were too weak.
Now, by all measures, this trip was really successful, and taken at face value would look like we should all be trying our hardest routes no matter what the conditions are and with no rest days. I get it. It's hard to keep these kind of numbers in perspective. Flashes and second-go sins of a bunch of 514s and the first ascent of a long-standing project, Superpod, at 14D or 9A. And yes, that's a major life goal tick list for most of us. But Alex had on-sighted 9A 2 years earlier. He did Superpod in 4 tries, so not exactly a mega project. And a few days after doing Superpod, he went to the Red for some unfinished business and did 2 9As in a day. A little over a month later, he climbed his first 9B in Spain. And here's the perspective we miss. When you're that good, climbing 15B, you can afford to go climb on 14A and 14B in less than optimal conditions. I mean, in my opinion, if your top grade is 13A, you should be able to climb 12A no matter how hot and humid it is. And frankly, if we're taking the actual lesson from Megos, you should be out doing that. Look, if you're a weekend warrior or your time to climb is limited in pretty much any other way than skin and energy, or you believe you're nowhere near your potential, then you should be taking advantage of the not-so-good conditions to get more climbing in, somewhere below your top level. And some coaches, some people would call this junk mileage. And if it were running or some other sport where every move in most situations are the same, then I might agree. But climbing isn't like that. When I tried to send my 100th 513 on my 50th birthday, it was in the full-on sun, way too hot, I was second day on and exhausted. I'd done number 99 the day before, and on my third or fourth try of the day, it was not going well.
Come on, Chris. Keep it together.
And when I watch that video back, it looks like I'm falling apart. I climbed through the crux at the 4th bolt in like 90 seconds. This is 2 bolts higher and 6 minutes later. It's 11 plus or 12A. I'm barely making the moves. There are moments of panic. My friend John, filming, is getting anxious.
Come on, can't fucking move.
Just move then, come on.
But this isn't me falling apart. That had already happened. None of what I had planned would work anymore. I was done. This was me pulling myself back together. And the only thing that allowed me to get to the top was that I'd climbed hundreds of 512s of all shapes and sizes in terrible conditions. So I knew how to adapt. I knew when I could slow down and when I needed to go. I knew how to stay on the wall despite constantly sliding off. I knew how to keep it mostly together. And maybe most important, I knew how to pull it together immediately when my confidence wavered. And I didn't learn any of that by waiting for everything to be perfect. I was an every other weekend warrior for the vast majority of my climbing career. Those were my only days to climb outside, and I wasn't going to not go try something challenging just because it was too humid, which it always was. So for years, I climbed all summer and all winter in the Red River Gorge. The year before I did my first 513, I did 75 12s in around 50 days of climbing. Some of those 512s were in shoe-melting heat, sweaty humidity, numb-out freezing, surprise hailstorms, rowdy western winds, and everything else you can imagine. In turn, some of those 512s felt like 513, and that's fine. It's better than fine. It's beneficial. Now, I'm not saying you should do 75 12s before trying 513, or what Alex did and wait until well after you've on-sighted 14D to try a mega project. I'm saying that to gain the skills necessary to get things done when the moment arrives, no matter what's thrown at you, you'll need to spend most of the less than great days challenging yourself to perform no matter the grade. During his first trip to the US in 2012, Alex Megos did 135 8A or harder sport routes and boulders. That's 13B and V11. 135 of them in a trip that was only 121 days long and traveled from the East Coast to El Paso. I watched him warm up on that trip by on-sighting the 14A that I was working on. But nowadays, if someone climbing, say, 13A did a similar thing at 511 or 512, many people would call that junk mileage. It's unnecessary. And it may actually be true that both Megos and I had crossed into the unnecessary. But when he returned to the US and did the first ascent of Superpod at the New River Gorge, it was a route that was a 13B to existing anchors pod with a V12 boulder on top of that. Now you can't tell me that building the kind of base that he did on that first trip to the US, always getting things done no matter the conditions, didn't have a hand in him being capable of doing that 14D in 4 tries, 2 14Ds in a day, and then 9 or 10 other 514s in a 16-day trip. I mean, if that's what so-called junk mileage allows, I will happily accept it.
Yes! Yeah! Yes!
So yes, Alex Megos was wrong. Conditions do matter. But he wasn't wrong that we can't use them as an excuse. They might be a reason that you don't send. But if you never ignore the conditions and gain the skills to climb when it's less than ideal or your skin isn't cooperating or you're tired, the skills to be more adaptable, then conditions will definitely be a reason that you don't send, far more often than you want them to be. If you want to learn more about becoming more adaptable, there's a link in the description for my book, Adapt, Lessons Learned Climbing 105 13s. See you next time. Thanks for watching or listening. In the show notes, you'll find related links, videos, and episodes, as well as how you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter, The Current, where we connect the dots to help climbers learn, grow, and excel.